A huge shout out to the overthinkers. An overthinker. Okay. He watches the show.
To the overthinkers. Shout out my friend too.
Okay, thank you, overthinkers.
Keep inspiring the next generation.
Shout out to the overthinkers. Tano Pela.
To my overthinkers, mamelo kuchopha ngeke kuphume buyakhula mamelo njani ngeke kuphume yazini as overthink siyaovachi yazini as overthink siyaovachi.
I'm stealing that. I've stolen that one. I've stolen it.
As overthinking, Salvachiva. Welcome everybody to the Overthinking Football Show. My name is Jose Mokwena. I'm your host, and this is the place where we love football, South African football, African football, and every now and then we go over to Europe, guys. The show is on every Monday to Thursday, 7 p.m. Unless Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana, Bafana. If those teams are playing, we are here watching them live. So tomorrow we're gonna have a double header, 6 o'clock. I believe it's Sundowns, then Pirates at 8, if I'm not mistaken, or at 9. But we're going to watch both of those games tomorrow. So please join me here as we're gonna analyze those games and go through it, guys. There is a WhatsApp group, a very active WhatsApp group that has been active all weekend, ever since what happened on Saturday. But it's a really great place for you to learn about football, man. For us to speak to each other, to teach each other things, to banter, to laugh. Hey, videos, GIFs, voice notes. Hey, go on, Kenches, the hour lapa. It's a very great place. So if you want to join the WhatsApp group, head on over to YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join, and you'll gain access. Guys, tonight, kupali tatseng scream, guys. Tatseng scream, kare le chokilwe ki gesi. I'm trying to get to 60,000 likes, and we're going to go from there. So, obviously, the big talk of today has to be what happened over the weekend. This is a review of the match that happened between Mamelodi Sundowns and idiski, which was the final of the Carling Black Label Knockout Cup. So, I've got some stats for you before we get into it. Remember, this is a very interactive show. I want to hear from you guys. We're going to have our normal panels. To join the panel, you have to be following me and join me while I'm live on TikTok. Click on the button at the bottom of your screen that says multi-guest. I let you in. You tell me what you're thinking, and we have a conversation about whatever it is that we are talking about today. So that is how it's going to work. But let me start off with the stats. Let me start off with the stats. I'm a little bit good. Okay. So Makesi had only 3 attempts with 2 on target. Mamelodi Sundowns had 20 attempts with 6 on target. 80% of the possession went to Mamelodi Sundowns. They had 635 passes versus Makesi's 158, and they completed 91% of those passes, whereas Makesi only completed 51% of their passes out. But I rarely go into the deeper stats, but this is where we need to go into the deeper stats. Big chances. Mamelodi Sundowns, according to the stats, only created 1 big chance, and they missed 1 big chance, whereas idiski only created 2 big chances and didn't miss any big chances. Then, when you look at the keeper performances and the defensive performance, Mamelodi Sundowns had no keeper saves, and then there were 12 clearances that were made by Sundowns, whereas idiski possessed 5 shots, and then, of course, had 22 clearances. So that gives you a picture of how this game was. It was a game where idiski held on and took a lot of damage before they were able to score their goals. Mamelodi Sundowns pushed with all their might, but couldn't get past that man, Chipezeze. What had happened for me is that idiski needs some credit because they pushed that team wide. They made sure that Sundowns had to play from wider areas. Allende was wide, Ribeiro was wide, and it sort of crowded Reina's space. The goal came from a similar space from where Mamelodi Sundowns usually scores their goals, where Ribeiro's in the 10. He's got 2 options who are running in between the centre back and the centre back and the left or right back, and using that space. That is where the goal came from, but they couldn't do that for most of the game, relying more on Mokwena taking shots from far away. So we're gonna jump straight into the panels. So please feel free to request. Remember, guys, everybody's gonna get 5 minutes to speak. Please respect your fellow panelists. All I want to do is I want to ask you a question or two. You guys tell me what you're thinking about the game, and then we move on. We carry on moving. We carry on moving.
He's got 2 options.
Let me get everybody in and we can go from there. Kupari gift, guys. Kupari Tassing Scream. Kupari gift. I want to get to 60,000 likes for tonight. Tap the screen. It is free. And then of course, man. Oh, Kupa something, man. Logan niggas are my paid. You know, you're not giving us, but it's fine. Let me go to Kuma. Kuma, welcome to the show. How are you?
Wena?
Kimonati man, Kumo. Kumo, tell me about this game.
Raji, after already cut. Marla menya uti.
Kumo,
it's fine,
I've been on holiday. I'm back at 27. I need to make sure get right. How?
Mara game we won bare jile ka tsatsela bare jilo 1-0 ba win re tla reng a ona ntwe de se be irile mara bare jile one can re na Sundowns this thing of always seek last minute we always lose concentration a shifa no ya re honta botlhoko le dibile wa tlhalohang in terms of combination play re gets shame we were able to penetrate le low block effectively compared to our previous seasons and our previous reign under that Pirates coach. Actually this game for Rejelwe, it's not really a bitter pill to swallow. Mara, we deserve to lose considering the chances that we should have actually put in through. Magezi was clinical, got the little chances they had, they made sure who Rwanda really say. That's how clinical they were. But man, this coach when it comes to analysis, Lujima, some might say witchcraft ya Limpopo. Why tweet? Mara my brand, no skanka, la kalobota. Now the lawyer as a legal AD. I can defend myself in court. One kaloang. So yeah. Allegedly look at one. No some The
thoughts and views expressed in the panel in the comments are not those of overthinking football. I just wanted to say that.
So my guy, no I in terms of like their homework uti cause more it was cause even the way they were defending hey Ola Arwira show me your number where there was no way our goals were gonna get there. As much as we love Ribeiro, man, why I always see sometimes say Alice so nonchalant. Alan didn't have a good game. Right now, she found about he's already
Kumo,
because he knew who we were gonna play. Yeah, Wangutla.
Yeah, Kahuta.
Ish. I'm no longer on open save, so Matata Shifa. So yeah, as I was saying, Hugo Bruce, man, he was being spiteful, and I didn't notice this until Abutu Kutom Ponsar. He was being spiteful because of Mangoba Selamo Biela Matimbagar. I will show you with your last born. All our key players, Bafana, the whole dead rubber game. Hence why no Nabali so fatigued. But yeah, let me like really excuse my bra. I don't tell you neresi creative in terms of like at the last key into embodying effect.
Kuma, I want to ask you for the last minute here. How do you fix problem ya lona ya last minute? Kaubane ekare last minute ineli problem ya rulani last minute kimo kya mangoba. What is going on Karikaka those last 20 minutes for Sundowns? How do you fix it? And did you fix the right problem? Kaubane li change the style of play mara still last minute.
Last minute I get in my butt. I do concentrations in the concert, the retailing. I want something about it. So I get something. I want because we do everything right but score and defend last minute because almost every tournament they get the same problems and then it's about who are also gonna celebrate their 10-year anniversary of winning Selo and some just did in the past. Marbatlo Rasaras as if like Bonaba there. But yeah, man, re tla reng. Ke
Okay.
borehile shem, ke borehile.
Okay, let me bring you to Prasipo. Prasipo, welcome to the show. How are you?
Evening OT, how are you?
Man, Prasipo. Now I'm rested. 27 is coming. You'll see me come
No,
back.
I believe you laughed at Sundowns well enough on Saturday. And for the first time on this show, I see Kumo being so humble for the first time. So thanks to Magezi, Kumo is very humble. We are not getting anything about Sundowns being the best team, this and that, and I like it like that. Magezi did so well, but OT on a serious note, let's give Magezi its own flowers. They played from the first game of the tournament. They had a strategy. They beat my team, Orlando Pirates, and they went on. And then, if a team can beat our Richards Bay and TS Galaxy, those teams that they can defend, then you know that this team is they really deserve to win it. Especially winning it against Sundowns in a final, coming from behind OT. It shows that they had a strategy. And the strategy with Magezi, as you say, they don't mind defending. They don't mind defending because OT, it has shown us in football, having a good goalkeeper is very crucial in football. Because how can you say now that the player of the tournament it's likely to be a goalkeeper for Magezi? For the whole tournament, it's been man of the match in all the games. So we need to give Magezi credit and their players. They really did well. Yes, we'll banter and laugh at Sundowns for losing the cup, but we need to give credit to Clinton Larsen and his players. And I just hope it's not a bad omen for them getting relegated and stuff, because normally teams, when they go up, they beat the big teams, they normally go down.
Yeah.
So I'm very much worried. I just hope they can try to keep the consistency going forward, and then. But congratulations to them, OT. And Sundowns, it's another trophy gone. It's another trophy gone. They were saying people are winning plastic and wood cups, but they can't win the real cups. They can't win the real cups. I don't know what's happening with them. It's been long, even during the time of Pitso, they were not winning cups. They are only winning the league. So maybe that is their specialty, OT. Because cups need people who wants to play today and win today. That's the reality of a cup, OT.
Can you tell me, Prasipa, I want to ask you.
Football myself.
Yeah. Yes. No, I wanted to ask you, how important now does it show that, in the PSL, any game you can win any game, but you have to have a plan and stick to it. As Magezi shown, maybe other teams that are guys, you can't come to the match already having lost versus Sundowns or Pirates. Maybe you can come out with something, or is it different in the league?
No, it's a story of David Vizgolet. In a cup, is different from the league. Remember, a league is a marathon, OT. It's a lot of games. A cup is a once-off. That's why we call it a once-off thing. In a cup, you play that 90 minutes. Whatever effort that you put in that 90 minutes might make you win, might make you lose. So in a cup, it's a different game. And we need to give credit to Magezi. Like I said, in a cup game, it's different from a league match. A league match, are going to play more games. But in a cup game, it's do or die. And the players are looking for December bonuses. So at least Magezi players, they'll get some December bonuses. And yeah, we're not feeling sorry for Sundowns, unfortunately. We're not feeling sorry for them. In fact, it shows that football it's a cruel game, because you may have the best team. At the end of the day, the effort and the result of the match will determine who wins the trophy. And I don't know what is it with Sundowns. They might have won before, but when it comes to cup games, they are a little bit beaten. They're a little bit beaten, especially in the finals. They normally get beaten. But this cup, it means this cup it's a sort of small team trophy because it started with Stellenbosch last season, and then this season it's Mackenzie. So yeah, and
Okay.
I was left with my friends OT through my last second that at least if it was Chiefs there, we're not even going to laugh because they are used to it. So now because it's Sundowns, we are going to laugh until the
Hey.
end of the year OT.
Okay. Hey,
My time
okay.
is up OT.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
Bradley. Let me bring you to Chero. Chero, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, I'm not okay, OT. I'm not okay. I am angry.
What's wrong, Chero?
Hey,
What's
I'm
wrong? Hey. Guess awudlali man. Ningabamba ugesi nje.
Bambu case ngezandla.
Ubamba ugesi ngezandla.
You know, OT, the biggest problem we have there at Sundowns is the Rulani Mokwena fans.
Okay.
That's the biggest problem we have. Those fans are destroying the club. Because now what happened was when Mokwena got fired,
Yeah.
and these people, they don't want Mangoba as the coach. First thing, when Mangoba came, he rested those players who are crucial to the team and the national team because he knows the schedule of the season the whole year. So you cannot play with the same players all the tournaments. AFCON qualifiers, league, Champions League plus Club World Cup. So they started now to say, no, Mangoba is trying to destroy team Rulani. Mangoba is not better than Rulani. They started comparing. Now the players are listening. They are here with social media. They look at these things. They listen to the guy, to us as fans, and now it's starting to cause friction in the team. The guy came and he said, "We need to rest players because we have a long season." What happens? There's his proof. Uzwane got injured. He wasn't playing him. He was playing him off the bench because he knew his schedule. Second thing, Mangoba said, "Listen, guys, we need to change the way we play because it's not effective, especially in Champions League." So you know what they say about insanity. You do the same thing again and again, and you're expecting different results. He's been there at Sundowns for 8 years. He knows Uguti. You know, he even said, I was watching this podcast, our problem is we don't watch all the interviews before and after the game. We just watch interviews there on TikTok, those 30 minutes, and then we draw conclusions. He was on the Sundowns podcast with Mahuta and I think it's DJ Neves. He said the problem we have is Champions League group stages, we cruise past teams.
Yeah.
And then when we reach quarter-final and semi-final, now we face those North African teams who are very disciplined and structured.
Okay.
So with our slow build-ups, it gets hard to penetrate those teams because they play European style. They sit back and hit you in the counter. So that's why we need to get the ball in the box faster. He doesn't want to change shoe shine, but we need to change something. We cannot do the same thing again and again and again and expect different results. It's been there. And the fatigue story. He said our players, they play a lot of games during the season. When it comes to crucial games, they're fatigued. So now, since we were complaining that he's not playing Mokwena, he's not playing Wu, this and that. Now, when it comes to this final, he was forced. His end was forced to play these players who are coming from Bafana, who've been playing 2 games in 1 week, who've been traveling. Second half, they couldn't cope. These players couldn't cope. He said, I only had 1 training session with these guys. So now, if he didn't play these guys and we lost, we were going to blame him. Now we are blaming him because he played these guys and we saw they are fatigued. See, Rulani Mokwena fans, they don't want to let go of Rulani and focus on Sundowns. Now we have a crucial game tomorrow. These players were supposed to play this game, not the final. So now what is supposed to do now? If he doesn't play them tomorrow and we lose, it's this coach's bad. If he plays them while we all saw Guti, they couldn't cope second half, we're going to say, why did you bring in these players fatigue. Rulani Mokwena won 2 cup competitions in 2 years. Sometimes it's not a cup competition team. We hardly win cup competition. We win the league, we do well in the Champions League. So this noise now that is going around, Rulani Mokwena fans saying we lost 2 cups. How many cups did Rulani Mokwena lose? And we didn't have this noise.
Yeah.
Why now all of a sudden when it's Mongawa Mngiti, now there's a big noise? Where was this noise when Rulani played his friend Ubonganzungu centre back while we had defenders who were sitting in the stands?
For time though, Chero.
Okay.
For time. For time. No, I can feel it. I wanted to give you some time, Mara, just to be fair to everybody else. Let me go to Untuli. Tuli, welcome to the show. How are you?
Hey, Mr. Oti.
Sipani, Ntuli.
Yes, stay in this slogan. So calling Black Label.
Okay.
It was written on the stars, Mr. Oti.
Ugesi ufake ku-final man.
Ufake ngampela ugesi. Hayi no. Hayi game le emagesi. Mr. Oti, they deserve to win that game, ne? Because emagesi vele, it's not like like other Amanyama team when they play against the Sundowns where they have to change his style of play and whatnot. Emagesi vele dlala kanje. So they didn't have to change the style of play. Hence, we were confident in dlala badlala ngayo. But Sundowns ithanda keep a position, sabanika position, thina sovala nje la imuva.
Ichipezeze.
Siphethe uchipezeze ube hey. Siphethe no chipezeze. Yeah, so what they did bona babanika Sundowns freedom. Dlaleni ibhola, they gave them the weight because most ama-short avenger chipezeze it was a long range because Sundowns they couldn't penetrate the defense yelo kunjani. Magesi yabo. And now Sundowns they also did the homework. They were not arrogant. They did the homework to Magesi because if you check especially first half because mostly Magesi outlets yabo jwayele kuba Wonder Boy. If you check umvala ubehlala ncamashi like ube married no Wonder Boy. Hence even though lamabhola abawakhiphayo they weren't that much successful yabo. So now Sundowns from their side yenzile homework yabo. Ibe ukulala emagesi nje like ilale kancane yabo Sundowns yakhona ukukapitalize because I remember I think Wonder Boy uluze ibhola bakwazi ukushaya ibreak attack esheshayo kwangena igoli yabo. But ngithe mangibuka abadlali bemagesi after their goal I saw these guys are not shaken, man. They're not on the panic mood. You can tell ukuthi abasabi they still believe ukuthi izobasebenzela lento yabo. And then ngemva kwaloko and you know imagesi ukuthi ihlasela kanjani because if you are checking amagoli ayafana if ubheka lawa
always chirambadare
they just put it cross and then kuba khona irunner engena in the middle bese bakhona umuntu ongale blind side because umvala wenza mistake on that goal because lesikhathi ibeshaya icross kanje Wonder Boy was running towards bona umvala and then washiya ukakora weza wabani waba attracted to Wonder Boy and then Wonder Boy waba ne free header qhudi langena yabo. So these guys badlalile Mr. Uthi they deserve ilokhu njana icup and siyababongela that's it olokhu njana amasandawana hayi
mina ngicela ukubuza
sure
imasandawana did they fix the wrong problem ngoba they're playing faster, they've got more shots, they're doing all that kodwa still last 30 minutes man ila bashaya wakhona. Did they fix the wrong problem and how do they fix that thing when they get into really important matches after 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes ziyawa always?
Hey Mr. Uthi angazi noma ngizothi bebe ne problem and I don't think the problem will be kubo kule game. I think they were just even though Magesi it doesn't have much of a position, I would say in inverted commas they were outplayed in terms of tactics in their game there. So they yeah, Imagis, they got their tactics right because those guys they didn't even have much chances of money. I think they had two
Two.
two
I
chances
don't need
and
too
then they
much.
scored 2 goals. Yeah, bo. So they were just clinical, bo. So kudos to Coach Clinton, no Coach Ubanile. Awuthi le idlalela Sundowns man. Ngiyamkhohlwa manje. Upapiz uThwana.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job and bayiwinile lelo khunjana and ngikubone na weekend bungakholwa Mr. uthi hayibo. Awura Mr. uthi hayi awuthi ngidedele panel member.
Guys, Tata scream, please. Let's try get this ranking. Let me go to Spiwe. Mina, I thought Gucci maybe Sundowns my figure ingadlali ne Pirates. Maybe Pirates that was the hoodoo team kanti. Ifinally nje.
Baba OT. Pata raide. Scale lapho Pitso. Scale lapho. And I just want to say and encourage la Majite Nuguti. There's a video that you put out there lapha go YouTube in a minute where we can contribute on something. I would love Amajita to go and have a look at it as well. I did the right thing. You know, since I'm rules with TikTok nanan, we can't say much, but I just want to re-emphasize on that. Good buffet to lapha go YouTube my video ni ulo uthi lapha ufaka izinto zakhona, so we can just do something just to show some love and you know just for the growth of this channel. You know what I mean? Because we really enjoy the work you're doing and we need to be patriotic as well to say about it as kuthezanini yabo. Baba othi yazi mina into engibonile yokuqala. Sundowns mayiyekele ya celebration yokuthi baba celebrate abathi balele. Maba iyekele ya celebration ngoba iyabakhawatha. Yabo?
Yeah.
Na into yokuqala. Eyobus 2. I rewatched the game yesterday, ne? I think it was airing about 6, so I rewatched the whole game again. Ngicela ukuthi nalama players lawa afuna ukudlalela uMzansi bacula national anthem man labantu laba man babozama ukucula national anthem bangathuli kanjena. Hawu. So ama red flags buwabhaya la. Yabo, if you were looking clearly you could see ukuthi ngathi ngeke zibakhiphele laba namhlanje ngathi induku ibekiwe. But nonetheless, you know, I think something that maybe most of the guys I didn't hear them talking about, since I said I watched the game twice.
Yeah.
Uronza man was not switched on, guys. Let's just be honest. I know Magesi was playing a low block, blah blah blah, but he was just not there, man. I don't know, maybe if there was something that you know was going on behind, but you could not feel him throughout the game. Uguti, what is he doing? Look at even the first goal. He was hardly even aware of his surroundings, let alone having to make a move even before it goes. I mean, the second one, I forgive him because, that one, but in defensive case, that one, it was too fast. But again, Umakes, man, uchipezeza ngadlala ibhola ngomona man lo mkhopolo leyamjita loyana aye man kulama long shot nawo ngabe uvulelela i1 ke hayi baba uthi hayi
uvulelela i1 sifuna ukuwina man thousand imbheke emehlweni ubela yeke
no ubafo somtholela islay queen ungawari somlungisi ngeke sizoba nenkinga ezingaka ku PSL ngeke sisabheke istelis ngapha nepulukwane ngapha siyibhakabhaka sifuna ukuba le phezulu isikhathi eside and Sundowns right la ngaphansi kwethu but kumele sihlangane manje neSundowns siyolungisa lento lapha kumagesi ngoba izosikitaza sonke le yanto leyana nawe baba uthi izokuthinta le gesi ngoba sibhekanga izokuthinta le gesi ngiyakutshela
thina sisebenzisa ikhasi natural asikho anywhere
angithi awusebenzisa ikhasi mara inkinga yazi magesi yenzani ifaki electric fence esayidini wena uyeza ngeskipa nembambo awuboni mawuthi uyalina ivele ithi cha No, but all in all, man, it was a beautiful game, man. But Ronza, man, it was off. I was not happy with Ronza, eh?
Maraspiwe, I just want to ask you then, when we speak about this Sundowns team, but what happy with these cups? What's happening to Sundowns when it comes to cup games? Ngoba, in as much as they're a dominant team and they're very good and they've got the quality and all of that, and we're making excuses with the bafana and this, Mara, it's been game after game after game where it becomes important.
Sundowns, I believe me now, I showed the next. They just have to have a more awareness attitude, especially in the dying minutes of the game. You understand? Because look at what's happening ngale goal le Magesi and the other goals they've conceded in the past cup final games. They happened in the last few minutes, if not dying minute, if not 2 minutes. You understand? And that's something that now, but they need to sit back and say, guys, what is it that we're doing wrong in the last 20 minutes of the game that we managed in the past other 70 minutes, but just in the 20 minutes, then we tend to lose the game. They need to find a way, or rather find players that will come and rejuvenate the energy. I mean, I saw he must have confidence, something. And I feel so sorry that the boy could not bring any magic when he came in. But I can tell you now, if that boy had scored a goal or they could have won, we would have been singing something different today, you know. But sometimes certain games, they're just not meant for you. Magesi was more determined. They had nothing to lose, and they knew, Guti, you know what, if we beat the Pirates, come on now. If we beat the Pirates, Pirates usually is the one that beats Sundowns in cup finals and so I think that also boosted their confidence, knowing that come on, we can give it a try, let's see what we can do. And I mean, all props to our cheapest bafethu simtholeleni slay queen mina bafethu ayasenzele plan
like you did you coach Keskukune siyanazi, but it's fine.
Bafethu mele lo muntu lo yana udlala ngenkani lo yababa othi mele senze plan angeke
for time Tango Piwe, guys. Tata Scream was aiming for 60,000 likes tonight, and Kubadi gift. Thank you to those who have gifted thus far. Here's the question to the comments. How does Sundowns fix the end of games? How does Sundowns go about fixing the end of games? Because last season we complained about Turulawa. The season before last, there was complaints about Rulani Guti. Against Wheathead, he didn't bring on a central defensive midfielder or another centre back. Hey guys, who's echoing here? Who's echoing? Didn't bring on an extra defender, and that cost them the game. And then now we're seeing Ukosh Mangoba, who's also going full pedal for the second halves to try and get more goals. But we're seeing the same type of outcome happening. In the comments, tell me, what does Sundowns have to do to shore up the last 30 minutes of the game? And if you've watched this show, it's something I've stressed a lot because we've seen the pattern. It was just a matter of time when they get taken advantage of in that sense. Let me go to the concierge. Librator, welcome. How are you?
Mr. Oti Gunjan.
Ansel. Uchinchile mabitso.
Yeah, there were some circumstances that forced me to change my name.
Yeah, I was about to say, hey, Motaung CAF French, but it's okay. What did you think of the game, my brother? Welcome.
I'm good. Mr. Oti, the game was interesting to watch because first and foremost, all the teams, they played according to their identity, how they play, right? Yeah. So now the biggest problem came in where I think Sundowns used a squad where even on Facebook and everywhere, people, they were saying this team is going to kill Magesi, right? They used a squad where people say, no, this squad is very dangerous. I was very skeptical about that lineup, right?
Yeah.
I was asking myself, how are these players going to play? Because even Ekas, you know, when you have a team that is full of stars and is playing against a team that does not have stars, that team is gonna lose. It's bound to lose. You understand? And then that was my first point. My second point that I had a problem with on the Sundowns side, it was the bench. For me, the bench did not have a lot of players that can come in when Sundowns is losing and change the game to make them play, right? If you check, the only person that can play there, it was Mayema. Sales never played any final in Mzansi. Lithaku never played any final in Mzansi. He's still young, you understand? So for me, I had a lot of questions and reservations when it came to the lineup and the the substitutes, right? One thing, when it comes to Magezi, the lineup, even Mangoba on press conferences told us that this is how Magezi is gonna line up, right? Which is exactly what he said. But for me, I think they lacked planning in the side of Sundowns, because you know how Magezi plays. You know how they score, right? And they scored the first goal. It was the same goal they scored against Pirates, against Chiefs. It was the very same. It's a replica, right? So it means they didn't do their work, their due diligence in analyzing the game, right? For me, the way I saw it. And then when I think Magezi outsmarted Sundowns in terms of analysis and the application of whatever they practiced. And the other thing with Sundowns, when you say they, like you've been saying, or when it comes to the second half and those other, I think around 70 to 90 minutes, they switch off, right? You know where the problem is, according to the way I see it? The problem is in the first half, they play a very high intensity game. The players, they play very fast, which is something they are not used to. Something that was just introduced in this season, right? So now it begs the question of, are the players fit enough to play the whole 90 minutes at that pace now? You understand? For me, that's where I think the fitness coaches and all these other players, they need to pull up their success, because each and every game, Sundowns, when they start very high, but when it comes to the second half, they start dropping. It means the players, they are tired. They cannot keep up the same momentum, the same intensity that they started with, right? Yeah, when it came to Magezi, they played according to the way they were supposed to play, and they got their chances, they used them, and the rest was history, Mr. Oti.
Can I ask you?
Yes.
Do we give Magesi the credit for taking Mamelodi Sundowns out of their own normal game plan? Because we saw players like Allende was wide, Ribeiro was wide. At some point, Reyners was coming into the 10 position. Was that Magesi, or was it maybe the thing you spoke about, or Redista man?
Yeah, I think this thing of the way Sundowns structured their team from the start, it was problematic, because you can't start with two CDMs when you're playing against a team that is going to play a low block against you. They won't be attacking, so there's no need for you to be defensive, right? And then in the same breath, when Motaung overlaps, one of the two CDMs was supposed to go and cover that position of Motaung, so that he does not get tired, because he was from representing the national team, right? So they overworked him. That's why they ended up substituting him. So I think they were supposed to cover that position. And on the question that you asked, right? They were also, I think they also thought they are going to win. I think they were overconfident. In which sense? Because if you check, just after the second half, they conceded. They thought maybe it's going to just be the same thing that was happening in the first half. So Magezi outpaced them, outplayed them in the second half. They were very clinical. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I have answered you.
No. I've got you. For time, let me bring in Bongs. Bongs, welcome to the show. Oh, Bongs. Okay, let's see if Umkav is there. Umkav, Soweto Gent, welcome.
Hola, Oti, how's it?
Man, Gimdan, Soweto Gent, key match. How did you feel about this game? Magesi Sundowns.
I think ngithi amakhosi for life, amakhosi.
27, siyabuya.
Siyabuya. Kodwa I think iSundowns ikhohle ukwenza into eyi-1 yabo. Bakhohle ukuya le komasipala bayolungisa indaba zama-meter box. manje bathi bafaka ugesi awungena awuvumi emagesi yile le kwamasipala yathi masipala ngifuna ukulungisa
Yeah.
yaza namaphepha balungisa indaba zogesi bafaka ugesi wangena ugesi simple as that
Ushaya 1.1 man imitha ye-Sundowns lapha eCloricop ithi 1.1.
ithi 1.1 suka uJesu akawufuna abantu abawupreachayo kodwa uthi man imagesi ingijabulise kakhulu this weekend because bayenza into esimple thi ngisho into eyi-1 yabona ibhola eli-predictable doesn't always mean you are playing bad football. Yamagesi came there and said, you know what, we cannot do what we always do. We cannot play Amakos, we cannot play set pieces, and then they scored 2 goals. So they only got 3 shots, I think. 2 on target, 2 goals. If you check Sundowns on the other hand, they had like 20 shots.
20 shots, 6 on target.
And then they didn't score. They only scored 1. So if ball is predictable, doesn't always mean you're gonna play bad. Doesn't mean you're gonna play ugly.
Yeah.
It depends. Like you can't ask a fish to fly. Don't change your style of football. Continue to do, and that's what they did. They came in and then they were disciplined in that sense. And another thing you want to Limakesi, the aggression. And I'm not talking about hostile aggression, it's more like tactical aggression to win the ball. Like ngifuna le ball, ngifuna ukulithatha ngise phambili sambi soko. I liked what I saw from Imakesi. But i-Sundowns is disrespectful, but bashaya fonile bese bayodliwa. They can't do that. That's disrespect to Kaizer Chiefs.
Yeah.
But mangibheka ngapha ku-Sundowns, they did what they always do. Yabo badlala position, they moved the ball. The only negative thing they did was trying to score from far. Because with the goalkeeper like Uchipezeze, you can't beat him. You can't score 3 goals from far. Maybe you can score 1, but you can't score more than 2 goals against that type of a goalkeeper. I think if they try to change set cross or cutbacks, bazama ukulisa side instead of trying to come in the middle. But that's all I wanted to say.
No, but I wanted to ask you on that point you're speaking about. I mean, I feel like Sundowns changed the way that they play in this game, and maybe that hurt them because I understand possession, but Mawambi Pola for a very long time versus a defensive team, you allow them to get back into their sets. They won the ball back from Wonder Boy, played it quickly up. They were able to find Reyners in the spaces where he normally scores. But for most of that game, Reyners number 10, Alenda is out wide. They started crossing the ball. What happened, man? How much credit do we give to Imakesi? But then do we also look at Sundowns and say, Maranani, Ngati, you came into this game differently?
History yakhuluma. How many cups akanje Sundowns seke yawawina? Mhlambe if isibala wonke nabo MTN 8 nabo Telkom mhlambe i8 wonke aphelele.
Yeah.
History yakhuluma. Sundowns is not a specialist when it comes to this type of cups. Ingakho even CAF it becomes a problem. And imagine AFCON, I'm not sure what this is a win because the competition a knockout. They must pull up their socks. I think they did change ama-beats lapho nalapho bazama ukuthunga yabo kodwa abazange bakhona ukulithunga kahle yabo because ezingishilo they were trying to come from the middle and uyazi ukuthi iMagesi I think i-defense yabo mehlala emuva straight iponda yabo they were not committing too much yabo and ibavala space instead of like committing and marking yabo so I think the frustration ifike lapho and credit to Imakesi for doing that. But I think another thing, I'm a cup afana nalawa. You
Yeah.
can't win them with possession, beautiful football. This cup,
Okay.
you must play ugly
Must
football
grind.
to win. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, he's
For time, for time, I want to jump in because all I heard from also was that maybe there must be a joint operation between Hugo Bruce and Coach Bangoba. They must come together to coach both teams. Let me go to Mudiba. Mudiba, welcome to the show. How are you?
Yes, you?
I'm good at you, my brother. Tell me, how did you feel about this game against the 2-1 Mamelodi Sundowns?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It was an interesting game whereby, I was listening to last during the week where he stated that his defense as well as his defensive midfielders must come to the party. So I was a little bit worried, thinking that he's going to about offensive players. You are Wonderboy Maku, Edbo Chirambadare, Tsapoka Kora. So, but then when the game comes in, then yes, he organized the game like he stated in the press conference, where he sit back. Mamelodi Sundowns tried to pin him at the back, but then they were unable to penetrate, and they managed to bottle Lucas Ribeiro Costa, where we saw only one chance there where he pulled up a champagne pole towards Ikram Renas and then put the ball in the back of the net. That's a well taken goal for Ikram Renas. As you know, he's been on form from the game against Kaizer Chiefs. So as the game progressed, they didn't panic. Then came second half, then they managed to equalize at Mochiram Badare with his educated left foot. This is a player, when I saw him against Orlando Pirates, he scored from the penalty. He's applied also against TS Galaxy, the goal that ended up winning 1-0. So that's how they equalized Tsapoka Kora, Arkia Kora. So then as the game progressed, and then we saw late like how they conceded against Orlando Pirates. So another pinpoint corner, which had a flick on from Samuel Dafoe. So he managed to put the ball above the net during the Nedbank Cup when University of Victoria played against Mamelodi Sundowns. Very impressive there. So, but Mamelodi Sundowns have got this tendency of taking lead goal, or whenever they take the lead, they go on to concede. If I can take you back to the game against Stellenbosch in the Cup, remember they scored first, while Ikram Renas was the least striker there. He scored two. They won 2 at Athlone. Then again against Orlando Pirates, same thing. They scored first from Tembazwane. Pirates came back from Masongani and Mufokeng, then he scored the win. Same thing happened even this Saturday. So they need to work on that. Usually, Mamelodi Sundowns, whenever they score first, it's always difficult to bounce back from the match. So I think the coach needs to fix that. So even I heard one of the brother, the Simpu, saying Ronan Williams was just quiet. I don't know what was happening with him, because usually he marshals the defense so well. So I was so impressed also with how Abrahams has been converted to right back, but at University of Pretoria, he played as if he's a striker, but very, very impressive there when I watched him. So, and looking at Linton Lassen as well, I'm so happy of the fact that this is a coach. Remember when Polokwane City got relegated, he went on to join Chippa United, and there was an instance where I remember, is it Chippa Mpenyesi, the owner of Chippa United, calling him Istitid. But today, the very same Istitid has won the team. So he's proving critics wrong. And it's good because he went on to coach Bizana Pondo Chiefs as well as Summerfield Dynamos. That time around, he revived himself at Makesi. So I was so impressed. And I realized that when I reflected back from what he said during the week, he was just playing towards Mamelodi Sundowns, where he never spoke about offensive players, and his offensive players very marvel to watch. Tsapo Mashoko, Tsapo Kakora, you look at Wonderboy Makubu. This is a player as well who did well against Orlando Pirates in that first game, where he was very instrumental despite not scoring. Delano Abrahams scored and then forced on goal. So for me, they deserve to win. And then also Elvis Chipeseze, what a player for me, because I reflect back from that Telkom knockout, the very same trophy which has been now called Carling knockout, when they played against Mamelodi Sundowns at Baroka in the quarterfinals. That's where they won 2-0. I remember Mduzi Mtanzani was one of the penalty goal scorers there. So they had the beating of Mamelodi. He had the beating of Mamelodi Sundowns Chipeseze in, and that's where at some point Coach Pitso Mosimane to be saying and stuff was so Then he went on to meet Orlando Pirates. Then he won against Orlando Pirates. I remember when Pirates were going to face Magesi, I said that Elvis Chipazesa last time when he played them, he managed to did again. So for me, a well-deserved victory and then well-deserved man of the match. Definitely, come the PSL awards, the Wilson Chipazesa will be the player of the tournament.
I need 30 seconds, Mudiba. I want to ask you a question. Should Sundowns now worry about physical strikers? So you saw what happened with Chivavairo in that first game, and then should they be worried about aerial balls? Is that a way to beat Sundowns now?
Yeah, I think it's a way to beat Sundowns because Lebanon, they are playing a similar style of football where they always use their flanks to attack. So for me, it was so disappointing. It's unlike them to concede from set play. And you will see even at some point, Ronan Williams used to complain saying, I don't like conceding from aerial balls because he's good aerially whenever I watched him. So, but I don't know what was happening to them at the back. It just froze, just like how they did against Polokwane City. So their performance was just questionable for me on the at the back there. So Mtobin Vala, not forgetting him as well. So they need to go back to the drawing board and fix that problem because, like I stated, that Flemingbeck wants trophies and currently they've lost 2 trophies. So which means Nedbank Cup, Betway Premiership, and also CAF Champions League, they need to get something.
No, Muriba, thank you so much. Let me go to Bongs. Bongs, welcome to the show. How are you? Bongs, batho ba ba shapile for then ba shapwa ki kesi a few weeks later, man. O reng ka taba e.
No, ke tla qala ke re fela ba ntse ba lla ba re he bona ha ba wini di one day cup ha ba wini maplanka bona they don't worry about defense, they just win trophies. Bona ba fitlhe ko ga o mama ba tlo jewa ke Magesi. Kgale ba ntse ba re kenella ba re rona re bapala di draw le bo Magesi, bo Pirates ba jewa ke bo Magesi. Bona they can do better against Magesi. Magesi showed them hore le bona no, they are not just a small team that came here to be a relegated team. Ba bontshitse for in these 4 games but di winner di 4 games tsena. Le Chipazesa has shown hore le ena ke o batla nna player of the tournament le ena I said he a jara Magesi to the final.
Jale, Ian saying Magesi, how did Magesi win this game and what did Sundowns do wrong? From both sides,
Sundowns, what Sundowns did wrong? No, bona they didn't take the players bafana and rest them and try and play the other players since bona banale 40 players in their squad. But Gavin a few changes, but try to the French players le tswana di tla kry chance hore di bapale di prove hore na di ka win a trophy. For Magesi side bona, they didn't go pound for pound with the Mamelodi Sundowns. They just sat back and let Sundowns do their work. They knew the Sundowns bona, they were lacking in fatigue and Mangoba ubile le pride hore no, let me try other players. How about who try other players? So we look at the same lineup. Ntetswa bo Uganda e be Cape Town e betla go ga o mama ke o ntsa berekisa yona the same players they won ha le go rotate squad sa ga
mara ke mo na rotate king is the curse ya hore ha se go le bima ha ba so rotate because le Rulani was doing very well early in the season when there was nothing to play for or it was still early and then later on Rebone same squad. Is it something as Sundowns now, hore they must carry on car rotation even if it's a cup final?
They have to rotate because the most players bafana they need to give other players a chance because barekile di player kaofela tsa league, the best players in the league. So why are they losing since bankile the best players in the league?
Okay,
and I still think
how does this affect Mamelodi Sundowns going forward? Do you think that there's a pressure now coming over or a pressure on the players? How do they play in the Champions League and in the other cups, knowing that MTN Haisaleo, Kie Kaling Haisaleo, you still want the Champions League, Halawina last year? What happens?
No, it's a must win for Bona Sundowns. They will have to go out there and try and win CAF Champions League, League especially. Nedbank not necessarily, but Champions League le league ke tsona tse ba tlo tlameha hore ba focus ho tsona the most.
Okay. No, Bongs, for time's sake, I'm gonna jump in there.
All right.
People, you're actually answering a question that I had. How important are these cups? And would you guys, as Sundowns fans, feel fine if he won a local trophy or two, and didn't win the Champions League? How does that balance out? And do you feel that there's pressure on Mamelodi Sundowns now when they go into other trophies now, other cups? That does it add a pressure? Does it become something that motivates them? How do we look at that? Let me bring in the panel, the second last panel here. So let me see. Just let me know in the comments, and please Tatan Scream, and also Kupari Gift, guys. 9 o'clock, the TTB show is going to be starting as well. So please check that out. Ulindo Pep is running that show on that side too. So please, let's support each other. We are all brothers in this content creation thing. So please support us, guys. Support us. But now, let's scream 60,000. Okay, let me see. And follow if you have not followed. Every Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. You can also watch any of the episodes back. They are available in full on YouTube. It's not just the reviews of matches or watch-alongs. We also have days where we have incredible conversations, and also my content lives on YouTube. So please head on over to watch the content. If you want to know exactly how I feel about the game, I've got videos, so they are there. Let me let in the next panel. Wesh, welcome to the show. How are you?
Mnumzane niyaphila.
Man, mina ngi-right, mina ngazi ngabanye. Mina ngizimelela u-27 ngibe right. Wesh. Uyibona njani iGabe?
Hey, uthi isicathulo nje sikhalile mfethu. Abantu bathintekile ngayinduku, but I would say that it's a cup game. It's a cup final. Obviously, the momentum is different. Even a team that you are expected to beat
Yeah.
when it comes to izinto ezifana nama cup finals, isangakuthela phansi because people are motivated, and irregardless of your tactical or technical abilities, sometimes usangadliwa because it's a cup final. Somebody needs to win, and I believe that's exactly what happened on this one.
Marawa, it's becoming a pattern, man, with Sundowns. When the pressure's on, it's sort of like they fall apart. You look at Rulani, he also played 2 cup finals, couldn't get it through, played a semi-final Champions League, couldn't get it through. Now Mangoba has played a final, can't get through to go win. What's happening at Mamelodi Sundowns when it comes to these cup competitions?
Hey, bruh, I think it's also a different case when it comes to Umangoba because Goningi okushintshile with him as the change of philosophy comes with a lot of things. New sets of players, new philosophy, a lot needs to change with him because you also need to bring the current players in on mentality yabo on board to what you are trying to do because I'm sure players basahleli nento yokuthi but we've been doing this and we've been winning for quite some time. Why are you changing it? Kind
Yeah.
of vibe.
Yeah.
And it's gonna take a lot and a lot of motivation for him to actually get those key players of the team to that because I do have a feeling that there is a little bit of resentment and somehow it is showing in the field of play. You see, corner man la corner ego off to a certain extent. I'm not saying that's the truth, but that's just me thinking that it takes a lot for a team to change philosophy. And if fans are expecting for that to be smooth, I don't think it will be.
Does he have time, Wish? Does he have time? Will they give him next season?
A problem abalandeli bafuna something to show for. You've been here for the longest time as a coach and we want something to show for. as football fans. So I don't think he has. I don't think for him it's gonna be easy situation efana nega coach with Orlando Pirates where he came in mid-season, he tried, he shuffled, he did this, he did that, and he's actually getting it right. Jenga manje, you know. I don't think he has the time because he has the quality also. You know, akufani nomuntu uhethu vuguza abanye abantu wavusa abantu abesesicabanga ukuthi abasekho right. The quality is there.
Yeah.
So I think for the most part with the Mamelodi Sundowns team, my observation is we've been playing with the Mamelodi Sundowns that kept the ball 80-90% of the time. And as ikwazi ukugcina ibhola for 90% of the time in the field of play nge-game, ikwenza wena odlala naye ungabi nesikhathi ebholeni. And you don't get to see whether the Mamelodi Sundowns can actually defend those aerial balls that we are talking about, those set pieces, because you hardly get Ibola Uguya Bona to actually attack them. That is why at some point, Ronan Williams was questionable. Is he really good or not until we had to see him play, make those saves with national team and things like that. Then people were you know convinced, because if people are not coming to you as much, sizokwazi kanjani ukuthi how perfect or how wonderful you are, and he is, you know, he thinks he is. So I think the Sundowns that plays now, it's a Sundowns that is not too clean on the ball, because obviously it's a fast paced, you know, so they give you time as the opponent to have the ball. So abantu bayeza kubona and amagoli ayaqhamuka and amagoli asazoqhamuka, you know, as the season progresses, and I think that's where it's at. The transition hasn't been smooth, and I think that's exactly what it is.
Okay, no, Wesh, for time's sake, I'm going to bring in Mr. Sir. Mr. Sir, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good, and you, Mr. Oti, how's it?
No, I'm great, my brother. I'm great. Tell me, Makesi 2-1. How do you feel about this game?
Firstly, we need to give credit where credit is due, not only to Magezi, but to PSL teams. You know, I think a lot of PSL teams now are realizing that, you know, Brendan Tudor's ability to defend, his tactics in defending are actually good and can be implemented for these big three sides. I mean,
you mean Lawson, Clinton Lawson?
No, I'm talking Brendan Tudor. These are Brendan Tudor tactics, whereby defenders are not afraid to get a bit compact and really, really force attackers to shoot from outside of the box. And now here we are dealing with the Sundowns side that, besides it being direct, they also like to control the game and push you forward and push you in deeper. So now if they've mastered being together, being close, and man marking like that, then obviously they're going to be a tough defense to break down. They're ready for the press. You understand? So it's that was very, very impressive from Imakezi. I was actually impressed. Coming into the second half, honestly, those set pieces were a thing of beauty. Those chances that they created were a thing of beauty. Something that, you know, we're saying Sundowns was not good enough, but I'm telling you now, as a Buccaneer, I don't think I would have survived such set pieces. Those were beautiful and well executed. You understand? So we mustn't doubt Sundowns' capabilities to see, but we must.
Sorry about that, guys. No. It's my TikTok is saying I'm not active.
Yeah, so we must give credit to Imakezi for saying, hey, you know what? We can do this. And if you see the positioning in the box, it was well orchestrated. You can see that these people are like, you know what? We have tall, big boy strikers, tall, big boy defenders that can definitely get behind the ball. Let's utilize that. And that's exactly what they did. They have a guy with an amazing left foot to put the ball inside the box. Why not utilize that? And that's exactly what they did. All their positioning was allowing for those crosses to come in. They knew that they couldn't beat Sundowns in their own game. They played their own game, waited for opportunities to get into Sundowns' half and capitalize on all their strengths. They played in their strengths, and that was very impressive from a newly promoted side.
But can I ask you, is it something that can be replicated? Is it something that can be replicated, or is it a uniquely Makesi thing? Because in as much as they were great defensively, you also have a cheapest. There's the influence, you know, you also have those type of things. Can it be replicated elsewhere? Like, can you see a Chiefs doing this type of thing?
I think, you know, teams Chiefs and Pirates, these are teams with better quality players, but I feel like their players are not suited for these high pressing and compact defending styles. You know, it's also a system thing. It's also a player profile thing, you know? So I feel like in teams like your Golden Arrows, teams like your was it 2021-22 season Usutu, those are squads that I feel like with big men at the back, very strong and powerful defenders can do that. Even a Cape Town City can try, but I'm not making any promises. But you see Polokwane City also is able to be a bit compact, really absorb pressure. So mid-table teams, Chippa, which is a very good defensive team, can also try that. You know, it can't really be replicated because what comes now is the second part of the game where the attack is. And if you can't have your own attack executed well in order to complement each other. Remember what we saw with, I think it was Richards Bay, if I'm not mistaken, against Orlando Pirates, whereby they were pretty good defensively, you know, absorbing Pirates' pressure. Pirates, we were forced to play 1-2s, rotate around the defense. But it was going forward where they lacked, where you'd find only a midfielder playing up high, a defensive player playing up high. It was all over the place. So if teams can say they're going to play a low block like this, which is not impossible, they need to say we are also able to play according to our attackers' strengths, position them nicely. You know,
I get about modern football. Everybody wants to play out from the back and, you know, do all those fancy things. Isn't that the issue, man, here?
No, Asiko's cut. When you're playing against the Sundowns with higher quality, you're playing against the Chiefs. Chiefs might not be the best right now, as people say, but we understand that the quality of the player profile is way different from that of Royal AM, for example. You cannot even try to play from the back. You cannot even try. I mean, remember when they were playing against Sundowns? Just a moment of lapsing from Sundowns saw them being pounced at by was it Chivaviro? I think it was Chivaviro. Yes, Chivaviro pounced. You understand? They weren't expecting him to be powerful and be able to receive the ball and actually hit it first time like that. They were not expecting that. So you can't do these things. Europe, our quality is not the same. Here we play Route 1 football, but you need to position your Route 1 football accordingly.
Okay.
That's what gets you promoted from the NFD.
But Mr. Sir, for time's sake, I'm going to have to jump in there. Question for the comments. Would you allow your team to play the Makesi way? Because I feel like Nati, we have this thing in our heads that we want to play this expensive, amazing touch football. Whereas sometimes, man, take your 2 chances, go home with the win. Tell me in the comments, would you be fine with doing that? And let me bring in Siso. Siso, welcome to the show. How are you?
Greetings, Mr. Uti. How are you?
I'm good. I'm always good. I've been rested, Mina.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you perfectly. Tell me about this game. How do you feel about it?
Mixed emotions and reactions, but first of all, guys, let's keep it simple. Big congratulations to Coach Clinton. You have to give the coaches flowers, man. And also, I also give a big shout out to this man, Chipazeza, guys. That's history. Not a lot of players have done what that guy has done. And actually, goalkeepers to be specific, you understand? And going into the game, my first comment, I think, to be honest, man, Coach Mangoba Muti was outclassed here. I think, guys, we have to be honest. He was outclassed. So, in those terms, what I mean is that you look at a coach like Coach Clinton. You remember we just spoke now about regarding that we have this mentality that we have to play Route 1 football. Simple football, passing, positional based football, whereby in South Africa, actually, not all games actually accommodate that. So for me, what I looked at in this game is that, first of all, is Sundowns under Mangoba Mniti one-sided in attack? That was my first question when I saw this game, that are they actually one-sided? Because if you look at it, shots were coming, but they all coming in the same pattern.
Okay.
They all coming in the same pattern. So from what I have with me, in the MTN 8 Cup semi-final against Stellis, I think, right? With Coach Mangoba, they had 11 shots, but 3 shots on target. The fact that they had 11 shots, we can see the attack is happening. But is it happening in the same pattern or different? Obviously, it's impossible that you're telling me that the attack can happen in different patterns, but it's impossible that you're not scoring. I mean, it happened yesterday against Magesi. No, sorry, Saturday yesterday, whereby you saw the goal that Reina scored. They actually changed the pattern. It was a moment of whereby they did not actually attack the way that they did. They went centrally and they got the goal. You can go back also and check the other goals that they got in the other finals. I'm referring specifically to the Stellies one. You will see what I'm talking about. And then now I come back to the Black Label Cup again. I think by the first half, Sundowns was sitting on 7 shots, but still only 1 goal. What's happening? Same pattern. Are they actually one-sided? That's my biggest concern about Sundowns. In terms of the players, right? I feel like again over here, Coach Mangoba went for quality over, I would say, player management. I don't know what you can refer it to, but I know it as a term in terms of coaching. I just forgot it. But it's realistic. Your players just came from international duty. You have players that actually can match the quality. I mean, if we're being honest, tell me one player that is not above the quality of a Magesi player at Sundowns. All of them, literally. Literally. All of them are above the quality. So that is when I was like questioning the balancing between the bench and the starting lineup. They had a tournament in Kabeja right now, Mr. OT, right? And they chose to take under players. They chose to take under 17 players, under 16 players, and also a few first team players that are not playing, you understand? So now my question was, did they use that tournament to their advantage? Because that's the tournament where you take the likes of who can I name? Maybe your Riyad Peterson, they played him, for example.
You take your Miamas, your Mkulises.
Also. You understand, Mr. Uti? So when you understand, take them in, take them to Kabeja, play them, and demand them to win the tournament. I mean, tell me, imagine players that can win a tournament in one day. What are they going to do when they actually have one game to win? And keep in mind, we're talking about players that are not playing, so they are hungry and eager to win the game. They are hungry and eager to win the game. So that's the only part that stressed me. And then also we come to the bench. I don't think the bench was used wisely, guys. If we have to be honest, the bench was not used wisely. You're playing against Magesi. You have an advantage in terms of quality and fitness, right? It downs being a surprise. They did not have a surprise in Kotli. I have a term that I normally call it, but they do not have a surprise. You know, like for example, what Chiefs were doing when the season started, where Sereno just came and surprised. They never had that surprise from the bench. I didn't see it honestly. So I don't know in terms of selection of the bench what the coach was thinking, but for me, in my perspective, looking at the Magesi game, I would possibly look to be bringing on pacey players. You see.
For time, I'm sorry, since I'm going to have to jump in for time. Let me bring in Sugar Spice. Sugar Spice, welcome. How are you?
Hey, gningi. No, Scarangela. Not a sold out. Not a sold out. Ascarangela. Ascarangela. Not a sold out. It's how many thousand? Less than 50,000. Not a sold out. You have other players that we have a national team. In my case, he had a 2 weeks break. You use those players, they only trained with the rest of the team that didn't go to my national teams only for 2 days. Let us be honest. Then from Lapo, why do you have to play with 2 pivot against abantu abangazange babe ne single shot at goal, not even a shot at target? Bafowethu mara mina ngazi yazini lo baba lona inkinga yakhe. No, the problem with khoza umanqoba lento izojumpa ngelanguage yaselokishini, izojumpa mfowethu, akeke uthola into ehambayo bese ufuna ukuyishintsha. And manje, truly speaking, is extremely under pressure because njengoba sisho ukuthi already 2 cups awasekho, and the league we cannot say Pirates will win, but the Pirates, they are putting their hand up to say, hey, but you are really, really serious. 2024, 2025. And they go Champions League, because now the thing is that they knew in Kuzima case, they enjoy more of not having the ball. You can have 95% of the ball, but Bona, they know very well with 2 or 3 chances, we'll put the ball in the back of the net. They know the more goalkeeper we Sundowns and active, there will be that element of elapse of concentration. They knew very well. Sizoya kayi-1. Sizomthola lele, angisho ngacabanga ukuthi sizoza. Sizoya kayi-1 simthole alele, shaya igoli sibuye elokhuzeni. Libuye ku center half, then silokhu sibayeke futhi balahle, because I think there's one of the panelists like raised one thing ukuthi by the look of the things, more to check ilokhuza in as much as they say Sundowns has depth, but kuleya bench lebe khona on the day ubani besides umayema obongamletha change the complexion of the whole game.
Mara naye umayema nimthembeleni kangaka ngoba umayema akadlali most of the time, so igama orini.
No, but OT mntana sekhaya into engayisho i1 umayema with abantu bekahleli nabo ebenchini uye bekangcono in terms of creativity, because you can't rely kule ntwana le encane Lutlako is still young and he has never played any not to say competitive, but any cup final. So truly speaking, I can say that there was an element of arrogance from Humanova for the fact that you can't introduce or bring abantu ukuthi babuye kodlala ku national team. You had full 2 weeks with your squad, and you are always boasting about ilokhuza, depth and rotation. Why didn't you rotate those players? Then abomtawu ubabeke benchini uba introduce if ubona ukuthi games ithathe shape. Was very, very arrogant, but also another person who's an unsung hero. Ukuthi abantu mhlawumbe ibhola silibona mhlawumbe silinokubheka siphuza utshwala or in uPapi Zothwane since bangenile la uJinja yinja mfowethu uJinja and ulokhuza uClinton Lasini raised another thing ukuthi uJinja was one of the good players, but he never at his prime or during his career played the cup final. It was also a motivation from Guye as a coach. But angizwa abantu bayikhuluma ithinga waste isikhathi futhi ngiyabona la sinika omunye umntana ngiyabonga kakhulu mntana.
Okay, hayi bekufuna ukuphi, but it's fine. Let me bring it to Glenn. Glenn, welcome to the show. How are you?
How are you, my brother?
Hi, Glenn. Nah, I'm well rested. Kisharp. Glenn, go on. How do you feel about this game?
Yeah, one of this game was an underscore or a realization that in life there are two people. There is a lecturer and there is a teacher. A lecturer always assumes that people understand. A lecturer will assume that you understand, and a teacher will take you step by step as a layman that you are. That's number one. If you look at the goals that Sundowns conceded, it was an issue of Mangoba thinking that his 2 fullbacks, which are converted, understands their role in terms of covering spaces for those blind runs.
While under pressure,
those boys couldn't understand. Yeah, and those boys couldn't. I don't think they couldn't understand, but it was a matter of saying nature took its course in terms of if you are an attacker by nature, you are always going to look to be on the front foot, especially when you are playing position-based football. So you look at the first goal, the one that who's this boy Chirambandar crossed. Mudau was thinking front foot. I'm going to go forward. They're going to take the ball. I'm going to go forward. Similarly to that other fullback on the first goal, he was thinking they have it covered. I must just be on space and receive the ball. So that's the issue of nature and conversion. yes, I understand. I understand converting players, ne? But we need to take into understanding that they are not going to always be 100% sure. We must always drill. We must always drill facts to these people that your primary, what do you call this? Your primary job
responsibility, yeah.
Yeah, is to defend. So that's why I'm saying that Mangoba assumed that Mudiba and Modau understood. But they heard, but they did not understand what he meant, that they must be focused for 90 minutes. And then they suffered the consequences.
But to be fair, but to be fair, Glenn, Sundowns has been losing in these finals and semi-finals of like the CAF Champions League by fine margins. You know, we've seen Mangoba, we've seen Rulani. Is it really just coming down to maybe Sundowns need to get proper right and left backs? But I mean, they still lose at the end of the games. What's causing that, Kaubane?
The issue of temperament. You know, Rulani used to talk about games of consequences and games that you need, games that you can afford to lose, and all that stuff. That's why I'm saying the difference between Rulani and this guy was that Rulani always drilled the importance of the game to the players. You know, 5 minutes before Omar, Rulani would drill the importance of the game to players. Even though they lost, you must remember that this team is cursed because they are using money for everything. So you are bound to be cursed. Sizok jealous at Tina.
Yeah.
So yeah. Yeah, it's a problem. It's a problem. It's a real problem.
You are going to speak about Allende.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about Allende and Ribeiro. Let me start with Ribeiro. He was given too much freedom to an extent that he started drifting away from play and forgetting that his dangerous position was strictly on the middle, on the vicinity of the 4 and 5, as I may say it. Allende, I don't know what to say about Allende, but I can understand that why Allende was not as what's the word?
Hey, Monday.
Hey, it's running away. Allende was. I understand the issue of why Allende was not effective, because you must remember that when you play Patrice Ubas and Teo Homoqueen, these are players who play with intensity. They press high, and Allende for me is quite slow. Yes, he might be a good ball rotator and stuff, but he's quite slow. So the two pivots, as they call them, played him out of the game. You see. So again, Mangoba tactically got it wrong.
What do you feel about Reyners and Shalulile and the role that they played in this game?
Shalulile must start learning how to pass the ball to his players, and how to place the ball on the sides of the keep. And another thing that is worth mentioning, sometimes we're not that threatening. Sometimes we're not that threatening, to be honest. So, but Reyners, I just cannot understand Reyners for now. He plays well when he's on the shoulder of the defender, but when he's on the face of the defender, when it comes to holding the ball and stuff, I just don't get him. I don't understand him quite yet. But I'm going to study him. Yeah.
For time's sake, Glenn. For time's sake, guys. But 33, like you could play 60, you could pass 60,000. You guys study likes. Just tap the screen. It is free. Thank you to those that have given gifts as well. Kupari gift demand, guys. These things actually help out quite a bit. You guys, I don't know if you understand that part. But question again for the comments. I want to know there in the comments. Your comments are gonna stay on my YouTube. I want to know how does Mamelodi Sundowns get over the hump? I'm going to ask it again. How does Mamelodi Sundowns get over the hump? What do they need to do in order to go out and win these finals and these games of consequence? Because in as much as we're speaking about Rulani in glowing terms, we also have to know that Rulani na Pirates. Rulani na went into a semi-final and lost to ES Tunis. You look at this season, Mangoba knocked out by Stellis. Now he lost this final here. Surely this seems like it's bigger than just what the coaches are saying. But let me bring in Vuyo. Vuyo, welcome to the show. How are you?
Ngiyaphila butwami kunjani?
Ngimnandi man Vuyo. Vuyo, uthini ngale game?
Mina as a Sundowns fan ngijabule kakhulu.
Awu.
Team yami idlale kahle kakhulu. Nedi nje abakwazanga ukuthi bakwazi ukukora. Yabona? And lento le according to mina inormal. Iyenzeka noma ngakiphi team. So ke hayi no umhlaba mawujaje. But let me remind you all of you ukuthi niphuma kuphi. Kaizer Chiefs become the first team in the PSL to beaten a team, first division team, TX Galaxy, final. Rule number 1. No, you need to know. Sun reminder. Orlando Pirates beaten by Baroka. E9 ground.
History lesson.
Sankumbuza. Oh, relax nangisakho isikhathi siyeza abuti. Relax. Orlando Pirates idlwe Baroka ngabadlali abayi9 egroundini. Rule out. So please ningaziphapheli kakhulu ayicali ngathi nayigcini ngathi ne. And le team ezidlile idle yona the mighty Buccaneers. Yeah. So relax and chill abuti ungaphaphi. Relax.
Sorry.
Sundowns idliwe. It's fine. We're going back to the drawing board. Siyocalela phansi. Sibheka phambili. Sitawubona ukuthi senda kanjani phambili. And ngiyakuzwa OT ukhuluma ngama final ukuthi siyadliwa. But angithi uyakhumbula ukuthi winile le bathi siqualify ngendlela different FA Cup. Why ungakhulumi ngayo? It's how much leyo mali lesiwe. Yes, siwinile, ansiwinile. And the other teams khumbula. This is the only final edlalwe Fan Square. The other team bekune Abongile Tom jersey number 10. Ukusho naloko ukuthi i-referee kahle weekend. You must talk ama facts when kudingeka. Ungathuli. Because manje nithulile ureferee kahle. Ureferee kahle this weekend. Why ningamnikeza credit? Nijaja kuphela. Yes, Magezi, congratulations to Magezi. They play fair, they win the game. We are very happy. Ngemagezi, they need it more than us. By winning, they are the champion. There is nothing wrong. And I'm still standing. My coach, Manyoba Miti, done very well, OT. He played very well. He outplayed Magezi. It's just that abazange kukhona ukuconvecta ama chances wabo. That's why the goalkeeper is a man of the match. Why goalkeeper is a man of the match if we didn't play well? Which means goalkeeper wabo udlale kahle. So that's why singazange sakhona ke ukuwina kuleya game. And we are happy. And OT masidliwa thina. We always get 1 or 2 for season. Akwenzeke ukuthi sidliwe singatholi lutho. And ningenzi ngathi kuqala ngathi and kugcina ngathi lokho.
Let's go to the drawing board. What is said at the drawing board? Like I said, I don't think Sundowns gets outplayed in these finals or these games. But what do you change? What do you fix? Is it an attitude thing or
which attitude, OT? Because of they create enough chances. If you watch the whole game, how many Sundowns are chances about creating?
No, and I'm not trying to be snacks. It's now final number 3, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, the other final in Guchele Gutunga account. Angithi Abongile bekagcoke number 10. No one okhuluma ngalo. OT, what do you mean? Abongile urefule fair.
Mina whether the ref is there or not.
No. Le amanye ama final ngicela ungaw-account for mina angu-account because of referee uassistile. Those are the facts. You can Google ungenzani uhlale phansi.
Okay, ES Tunis. Semi-final Champions League. We did the year before. Nilungisa kanjani? Mina ngifuna ukwazi ukuthi nilungisa kanjani. Outside of refs and things.
We're going back to the drawing board. Sizoyilungisa nama players wethu because of ngibonile na aerial ukuthi we couldn't deal nama aerial balls kule game because of mawungayibheka lama game la oy2. If you want to judge ama players with Sundowns, Real William akazange aba vocal. Real William akazange aphuma. Le goal lesi2 leli bekumele ngabe uphumile. Because remember goalkeeper need to be vocal. Ubona yonke into OT, uyayi-observe yonke into. Kumele ngabe uphumile wapunch ibhola akazange aphume uhleli straight elayinini yakhe even uchange the direction of his body ku-goal number 1 ibhola icrossile emoyeni umile kusame direction you don't twist the body. What does it mean lo? You ball watching. Ball watching because of akazange shift ibody yakhe. But I'm not here to judge my players with Sundowns. They play well. It's part of football iyenzeka noma ngawubani. And I don't care who said what. This is my opinion.
For time's sake, guys, Mina, to be honest with you, I don't like bringing refs into this because the moment you bring refs in for a final, then there's going to be questions about the semis and the quarters. Then there's going to be all these type of things, guys. Mina, that's why I don't like to speak that much about refs. But let me go to, okay, oh, stupid. I don't know. Welcome. Stupid.
Babu Mokwena kunjani?
Man mina le gama man alihlali kahle la kimi man. Uyangizwa? Don't worry. Tell me. What are you doing, my brother?
Game it was a beautiful final. Both teams badlale the way sibajwayele ngakhona. Okay, imakesi angeke ngithi sijwayele. We only, I think, as South Africans, we only saw 2 games before the final. Yemakesi, because truly speaking, if imakesi idlala ne-TS Galaxy, I doubt people watched that game. So we only saw imakesi against the Pirates. We saw imakesi against the Kaizer Chiefs. And then we saw imakesi now. So we cannot really say ukuthi imakesi idlala kanjani. As for Sundowns, it happens. It happens. OT, it happens. I remember. I'm a Pirates fan. I remember there was a season where I think Coach Roger Disa was still a coach for Pirates. I think he reached about 4 finals in one season. He lost them all. So it happens. It happens. It's football at the end of the day. There's nothing wrong with Sundowns. It's just that as fans, obviously, we will always hype. The banter will always be there. It's their time to suffer. I'm not complaining, by the way. They have to suffer. It's long overdue. But nonetheless, it was a beautiful game. I watched the entire game. It was a beautiful game. There's still a lot to do for uManqoba. Having said that, because of how can I put it? Team morale. I think this might affect them psychologically, but the guys physically and the talent-wise, we can never question. The quality is there.
Do you think
that's my piece.
Do you think that this thing, last 30 minutes, now just purely football, do you think that it's something that Sundowns needs to figure out, that maybe teams will start realizing that, if we can survive, and I'm not saying it's an easy thing, but if we can survive to 65 minutes, maybe we have a chance to steal it. Is that something that Sundowns should be wary of?
Yeah, they should be wary, but if football is a game of moments. The first 5 minutes, the first 10, the first 15, and so forth. So imagine if Sundowns had scored 2 goals in the first half. It would have been a different story altogether. We wouldn't be talking about Sundowns having a problem, last 80, last 20, because remember the game against Marumo, I think. They scored, was it Marumo? How many?
It was Marumo, the 4-1.
They scored 4 something.
4-0, 4, yeah.
Yes. So Marumo came in the last 20 minutes, but that match was already done. So I think intensity in the beginning of the match. I think the solution is to drill into the players that, okay, we cannot play throughout 90 minutes with the same intensity. So we rather score early goals and then so that when we suffer at the later stage, the damage will be done. The other team might score 1 or 2 goals, but they won't win the match. Understand? So if they can do it that way, because I don't think they can keep the same intensity the whole 90 minutes. It's the same as the Pirates Gamicho. Pirates Gamicho used to do that. First 45 minutes, they will come guns blazing. And if they score 2 goals, and then the last 30 minutes, the other team can score the 2, and then it's a draw. That's how they lost the league in the era of Micho and Pitso. So I think they should score just many goals as they can in the first half.
For time's sake, I'm gonna jump in. Guys, before I go to Malume Kuto, guys, some of the discussions are just about patterns and things. So I feel as though, in as much as there's reasons, and we're all coming up with the reasons for each of the finals and all of that stuff, if a pattern is there, then we have to interrogate it, and we have to look at it and say, okay, truthfully, what is the thing shot down? What can be done, and things like that. It's not a conversation to put down Mamelodi Sundowns. It's a conversation to say, okay, we've seen now the pattern. Where do we go from here? Same conversation we had about Orlando Pirates. How does Pirates win the league? You have to go out and be consistent over 30. How do you become consistent over 30? Maybe you don't play high tempo all the games. Maybe psychologically you need to lock in for some of these are football chats, guys. So please, let's try find some solutions too. It's not to go and touch anyone. Let me go to Malume Kuto. Malume Kuto.
Ay, Mr. Oti, mina bengingehla kupanel. Bengeke ngikhuluma uvuya sasela.
Ay, mara Malume Kuto.
I wonder if Vuya was with you in that studio. Club. Bengabheka phansi ke ngimpama ukuthi lento ibusa.
Mara Malume Kuto.
Bengabamba, do you hear what I'm telling you? Uzuthi, Mamelodi Sundowns is the best team. I'm sorry. Yo, yes.
Can I give me Malume Kuto?
But yes, Mr. Oti. It's football, guys. Ningadliwa kanje. Niyasithusa sesaba nokubuza ama-question. Uthi sekazuthi thank you. Usaba nokubiza u-stupid igama libhaliwe stupid. Ngoba uyabona ukuthi kushubile.
Mara
If it wasn't for my case.
Yo, way.
Gube siyacelebrate, Sundowns is the best team. My case is causing havoc. Vuya is telling us with Papa. But anyway, Mr. Oti, you know what? I will say my case was just super lucky. You don't win a game of football like that, Mr. Oti.
Oh gosh.
You don't win a game of football like that. You don't face, I don't know, was it 20 shots and get away with it. They were super lucky. And I think Sundowns is an issue, Mr. Oti. Teams wanna push it to the last minute. But when you get to the last minute, you start realizing, Guti, if I take it to penalties, I'm against Ronan Williams. That's when you get motivated. Guti, I have to push now. It's now or never. That's why you see these, even leading towards the Golemakis, they were actually trying, Mr. Uti. They might have not taken a shot, but they were actually trying to, like, Uti, let's just avoid penalties at all costs. And I think Ronwen, he also has that thing, which, okay, let's go to penalties. That goal is to, I don't think a Sundowns team could concede a goal like that, Mr. Oti, where the whole defense has shut down, where a cross lands in the 6-yard and a player is unmarked. Not a Mamelodi Sundowns, Mr. Nyala. So in that case, we're lucky in a number of shots they faced, because some great strikers. I remember when they explained the issue of goal scoring in South Africa, that we actually try and miss the goalkeeper, and whereas Amachita overseas, they
put it through the legs.
Yeah, they shoot at the goalkeeper so that if it goes aside, because you hardly gonna hit it straight. So more goalkeeper, you actually get the net. You understand? So usually when you shoot straight at the goalkeeper, you are bound to score. I'm much it Sundowns, I'm shy goalkeeper. I urge anyone or my highlights. When Tebogo Mokwena took that first shot, Ochipezeze was crying. Umshayo Ochipezeze was yo ha ha. He even rubbed his hands, Mr. Oti. Because Mokwena tumelenye bullet. That ball would have went in. I remember Kekana, Mr. Oti, Beanga Shaile Saiti, I'm double straight to sense. If anyone wants to say the ball came straight, gosh, shout says on a polar straight, sense or shower my cramp. So, and rest in peace, Senzo Mayo. But the way we were con, it was written in the star. Someone said, even the slogan said Fagukis. You understand?
But then, Malume Kuto, are we not giving Mamelodi Sundowns too much credit in this? Because, and I don't mean it to say that they were bad, but it's like, if similar patterns keep happening, you know, the past few games, you speak about a cross that almost got scored. I remember Role M last minute, there was a cross they played that just barely, Ronan came away with that ball. Can't we give credit to some of these teams to say that, hey guys, you did what you had to do? Makesi has been playing this way for the past, I don't know how many games in the league and also in this tournament. Is it luck anymore, or is it maybe just, hey guys, it is what it is? And can't we question Sundowns and say, it was bound to happen this way for them too, that you're going to have a game where you've got no shots, or you've got all the shots, it doesn't go in, you know, and because you haven't done the work, now you get hurt on the other side. Can't we also speak about that it works the other way too?
Like I said, Mr. Uti, that second goal, Makesi pushed for it. I do acknowledge the fact that they actually tried. It was not a manna from heaven. It was as a result of their effort. However, I still say, that is unlike Sundowns, which Bola Lingalenda was 6 yards during a corner kick and no one is there to attend. You understand?
Mara Chirambadare has been doing this. Chirambadare now has a CV of this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In as much as I want to give credit to him, Mr. Uti, I have to make it about Sundowns, Mr. Uti. I have to make it about Sundowns and say, it's unlike them, Mr. Uti. It's unlike them, Uti, banga attend certain quadrants of the field. It's unlike Ronan Williams to switch off like that. For both goals even. For Ronan Williams, Uti, I be stiff like that. He's usually at the right place at the right time when the defense fumbles. Ronan Williams is there to save them. So, like I'm saying, in as much as I want to give credit to him, Mr. Uti, I'm going to be honest with you. Chirambandare, yes, great stuff, but that was pure luck.
Well, can I ask you this then, Malume Kuto? If they've played so many games of consequence versus you guys in the Champions League and all of that stuff, is it not like them to concede a late goal that looks like it shouldn't have gone in? Because all of the goals that they concede late are goals that are lapses of concentration. So is it that not like them in that sense?
Who? Mikey is for Sundowns.
Sundowns.
Oh,
because they concede like this. We don't know how it happened. Person was out of position. Baba Shapileka counter. All of a sudden, somebody slips or the Shapa Toko. After a while, don't you say, "I Marakari, this is you."
It's 2 games, Mr. Oti. Remember the MTN. We took it to penalties.
Yes, Tunis scored a late goal that came out of nowhere. Yeah, before does the same thing.
Yes, Tunis Esperance.
The counter.
Esperance beat them Mr. Uti. The game was already over. I remember Coach Rulani was already crying.
But listen to what I'm saying. Yeah.
4 more games.
But listen to what I'm saying about We Dead was the same. It was done. But a 2-2. And they won. You guys, Karile, come in, score late, it's done. And it's not 1 or 2 finals, it's 3 or 4 or 5 finals. So maybe we should ask about finals and games of consequence.
Is the fact that in between all of that, there's also the MTN 8. Where they take us to penalties. You understand? So I would also urge them to not fall for the...
Mara, 4 out of 5. Is that not a pattern?
Not really, Mr. Oti. It's very different. I know I don't have time, but it's very different. Le Pirates, it was a game blow by blow, Mr. Oti. I don't think it's only a matter of concentration, lap.
Mm.
Zulu was unfortunate and Urile was fresh.
Yeah.
But le Mr. Oti Sundowns switched off in a way that's not Sundowns like. But I hear you, but I don't agree, Mr. Oti. I think Magesi was super lucky. There is no way that you face so many shots and we say this is how you play.
Yeah.
I get it, Mr. Oti. Ushalulile should have buried some of those chances. Ureina should have been more persistent. No.
Okay. No. For time's sake, I was just saying that even in the Richards Bay game and the TS Galaxy game, they faced similar, well, not as much attempts, but attempts on target were very similar. So that's why it seems like it's the way that they want to play in these type of games. But let me bring you to Agent. Agent, welcome to the show, my brother.
Mr. Oti say against Pirates, if Hoto had decided to score instead of pass, it would have been different. This cannot be a strategy.
Mara, if it's a 4 in a row, at some point you have to say, I care. If you are lucky, that is your lucky. For 5 games, you are lucky. That's what I'm trying to say, Uti. It's not a once off that they're doing this. So I'm not saying that it's perfect and it's the right thing. I even said in my pre-match thing that this is going to be a fight of how many times can Sundowns hit them until they open up. But if this is what they do, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, they've had a couple of these games, then you have to go, maybe keep it in. Maybe we may not understand it, but it's working kind of for them. I don't know. Agent, welcome to the show.
Good evening, Jans. I wasn't here to analyze the game and talk on some talking points, but I have to get in now, and I'm going to be riding figuratively on Abutukuzo. I want to use the word luck. Luck is something that happens by coincidence, once, I would say. I say it's fate. And I said on the day, and I don't think people misunderstood me when I said I'm not hurt that much by this loss because I think it was meant to be. And I think this is where Abu Tukuzo was coming from, that it was meant to be. You can't say OT that it's a way of playing, it's a strategy that Pirates could have scored 3, could have equalized from 3-0.
Yeah.
Kaizer Chiefs also, Richards Bay also, it was by the same thing also, you look at certain things and say it was written in the stars. I think that's the word that I used, and like Abutukuzo said, gays, fuck you gays, whatever, some things are like that. Hence, even after the game, I came with the sentiments that I'm not hurt that much by this game and I accepted graciously, It's not luck, it's fate, and it is faith for you, Sinji. I think you, of all people should know what is fate and faith and luck, because of other things that we won't discuss here. But it was meant to be, guys. Hence, I'm not upset.
So then, can you use the fate argument for Sundown when it comes to games of consequence? However they lose them, it seems like then it's fate.
Yes. When something is not meant for you, Shem, it won't, no matter how much it can happen, look at Mvala on goal. The only final that I say we lost fair and square, or the game that I say we lost fair and square, was against Esperance de Tunis. They beat us fair and square, clean, The Paris game, the Rele goal was a magical piece, actually. I also take that and say that we deserve that one, deserve to lose that one. But other things, we can I don't know, people are saying they don't believe in luck. We're just unfortunate, if you can put it that way. Hence, I use the word, it wasn't meant to be.
So then, Agent, like just that. On that... Okay, no, I just wanted to ask you, on that point, I mean, we've sat here and spoken about the last 30 minutes of Sundowns games that, you've gotten past it, and maybe it's not a cause of concern when it happens once or twice, But now when it happens a couple of times and you're winning, you have to go, hey, Mara guys, there's going to be a day when, you can't, you haven't scored, you haven't done enough on your end. So is that a fate thing, or can that be fixed?
You see, that's where we departure now from fate and fate, but this is a pattern. And it's a pattern that me and you alluded to. That last 60 minutes we are bringing in subs to increase the tempo instead of maybe decreasing the tempo, and you asked a very important question, and in retrospect, people will say, but you were wrong. I'm like, no, you asked the question, do I want it in this game? And I said yes, but I'm the same person who we're discussing with you that we have to decrease the tempo, so the question asked, why are you asking for a tennis match? Because with the intensity that we play for, and I told you the reason why we drop off last 30 minutes is because of the intensity. The intensity we play at is not sustainable. So do you want to drag the game to extra time, or do you want to risk it and try and finish the game in 90 minutes? Mind you, have a game on Tuesday again.
Yeah.
Hence I said, in this particular case, I want a tennis game. You see? And I also don't want to say reduce and say all the losses have been the same. This loss is different from other losses. There are losses, and a football fan would say it's all losses, but it's not all losses. It's different. So hence we have to say we have lost 3 finals, but in this one particular one, it was meant to be. It was, if I can ask you a question, what would you have done different in terms of the tactics on the day, besides the last 30 minutes, because that we know is a concern? What would you have done different?
I think you should have forced Ribeiro in the center a lot more.
Can you still hear me?
No, I can hear you. You should have forced Ribeiro to the center a bit more. And it's not necessarily because of tactics. It's more because of the attitude of the player and the way that, when you give him time, he tends to let go of stuff. I would have asked Reina not to come central, because we've seen that in Bafana games very early on, when Bruce used to put him in sort of like a center role or making him come back, that he kind of loses himself there. Maybe keep him wide, make Shalulile play a wider right role, right? And focus on cutbacks. Makesi's big weakness when they've looked most vulnerable in their last few games was players finding the byline and playing it back to the P spot. They struggle a lot. That defense has no sense of positioning.
But you see that is nitty-gritties.
Yes, very important.
In the grand scheme of things, that sometimes maybe remember Magesi also playing for Sundowns. Maybe they were thinking that maybe they're gonna crowd me, so let me try and drag them out wide. So hence I'm saying there wasn't much to change, except the last 30 minutes, obviously, that maybe we disagree on. But in the bigger scheme of things, I don't think this is a type of loss that you see Mangoba lost as the final.
No, I would never say that. No, that's not my point. Yeah.
No, I know it's not your point. I'm just saying, sometimes, when I want to talk to you, I refer to you. But I want to say this, and that's the last point on the game, because like I said, I wasn't interested in talking about the game. People are talking about squad depth, we shouldn't have used the Bafana players and everything. And that's all, and I agree. And I believe Mangoba lacked the big kahunas to do that, because you're preparing this team for 2 weeks, But when I was still a farm boy, when I was still a farm boy, I used to play a game called Mahel. I don't know if you know it. We used to have what you call traksha. Whatever you go, you're losing. In English they say heads you win, tails I lose. Both ways you're losing. You don't play it. Remember what happened the last time you didn't play Bafana players? There was an outrage. You see how unfair that argument is. And had he lost with his team yesterday, what was going to be the argument today? Why didn't you use Bafana? So I say some arguments are pedestrian arguments because they happen in hindsight. But I just wanted to say two things actually. That I'm a Sandawana. The reason why I came to come last was that I don't want to analyze the game. I want to say the Sen have this saying sorry, hey guys, we lost. Let's accept it. And today I'm not going to be divisive. I know sometimes I'm really divisive. I remember, in the book of Matthew's 11, I think, who is the guy? Moses has taken out people out of Egypt. And after taking them and crossing the Red Seas and stuff like that, things happen and there's hunger and there's everything. And the same people that he rescued from Pharaoh, they begin to ask him, why did you bring us out of Egypt? You could have died peacefully there in Egypt. So let's not be like those guys who were rescued from Pharaoh and say our previous oppressor was better than you. You should have left us with our previous oppressor. And legitimately though, from those who are genuine Sundowns fans, not the wider branch, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Even John himself. Aye, man. Did I say Mark or I said Matthews? I said Matthews, man. Bawamfundisi. Sinje, I said Matthews. But no, I said Exodus, man. I want to go to Matthews. Exodus. I want to go to Matthews. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's Exodus. Now, Matthews 11. Sorry, Bawamfundisi. I know I touched an F there. But Matthews, we meet John. And John is saying to his disciples, the man that I baptized and told you is a Messiah. Go back and ask him, are you the Messiah that we've been expecting, or we should look for another one? So this is the question that we are facing on Umangoba. I told you that Mangoba is the Messiah. I told you that we should trust the man, but like John, I'm asking Mangoba that is Mangoba the Messiah now, or should we look for another Messiah? Because we have no, but OT, seriousness aside, we have to be frank. I was against Rulani for losing important games. So I have to remain with the same fairness.
Keep the same energy.
And say, Mangoba, you have lost two finals now, or two cups now. Are you the right guy, or should we look for another guy? And that's a question. I'm not saying he's not the guy. I'm not saying let's fire him. I'm saying questions are right to be asked about Mangoba, and questions has to be asked. If you don't make it to the semi-finals or quarterfinals of group stages, will Sundowns be justified to fire Mangoba? Those are genuine questions. I'm not saying
especially after the statement that was made with the other guy. I think that's where it becomes an issue.
You have to be fair on it. So that's what I wanted to say, guys, that we are right to question Mangoba, but let's support him until he proves us that he's not the Messiah that we're looking for, and there's another Messiah that is coming. So thank you.
I just wanted to jump in, guys, and end of the show. TTB show is going to be starting at Galindo. My thoughts are on YouTube. Here's my thing. I think let's not be unfair to Imakesi. However they got to the final, they got to the final. However they won the final, they won the final. And if it's something that they stuck to their guns with and carried on doing this, Chipezeze has not only been man of the match in this tournament, I believe he's been man of the match, if not a couple of times in the league, right? This is what they're coming with, and they trusted themselves to go, okay, we will take your 5 shots or 10 shots or 20 shots, but we trust that when we get 2 shots, we're going to go score. In my pre-match preview, I did say that Imakesi has 2 things. They know how to suffer, they know how to survive. Whether you call it luck, whether you call it anything else, they do it week in, week out, and then they trust themselves to go out and go score from the left-hand side. Chirambadare puts in a cross. And we can say that this is not Sundowns, but we can't say that it also was not Pirates, it also was not Chiefs, it also was not TS Galaxy, it also was not Richards Bay. At some point, you have to look at the team and say, maybe they're just really good at the thing that they do. And we're taking it for granted because they're not a big team. When you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, this is all I'll say. When you look at Mamelodi Sundowns, I still feel like the fixing that happens at Sundowns was not fixing the problem. I think Sundowns has had an issue in hot games that there's a bit of the decision making sometimes goes out the window in terms of making the right subs or orientating the team into the proper place. So we argued about that with Rulani to say that Rulani, when it's lit carry last minute, he subs sometimes in very important games. I want to make this point. In very important games, in the final versus Pirates, in a Champions League knockout game versus whoever it is, Ahly, ES Tunis, it could be Yanga, it could be TP Mazembe. In those games of consequence, it feels like Sundowns blinks. And even in these games, Ukosh Mangoba, where I was coming from with my criticism of Ukosh Mangoba was, do you want to make it a race towards the end of games? Do you want to have every time you bring on your subs are to up the tempo? And because Mkulis is running and this one's running and Nitako's running and that one's running, now Allen is alone in the midfield. And that's where you see, fine, Marumo Kalans lost. But in the last 30 minutes, I said it in that game, that you got to watch out, not necessarily for Marumo Kalans, but if Kalans can be 4-0 down or 3-0 down at the time, I don't know what the score was, and can look good in the last 30 minutes and can actually play and you're giving them freedom. And then you come to the game versus Chiefs, the first one, where it's Tibang in the last 30 minutes and Chiefs can almost get something from that game. Maybe it is a place where you go, I'm slowing down the game. Not because I'm giving up on the game or whatever. I'm slowing down the game because that team is running at me now. Polokwane City is running at me now. We haven't scored. Maybe we need to go, hey, guys, it's not our day. Let's slow the pace down. Keep the possession like we do with Turonwen and play the ball out that way. And maybe pounce on their mistakes other than creating chances for them to hit us. Makesi, to their credit, in the second half, they pressed. And they won the ball back very high. There was a couple of places where they'd won the ball back and they were hitting you with that thing I spoke about last week with the 3-man counter. And it may not score them goals and do all of the things, but you cannot take for granted those type of things, because when you get to the big game and you've got a team that is better than Makesi or better than Marumo Kalans, better than Chiefs, better than all of those things, you get to that point where you're looking Ahly in the eye in the Champions League semi-finals, or ES Tunis in the Champions League semi-finals, or whoever they've been playing all of these years. And now it's time for you to make the right choices. Those are the mistakes that are going to hurt you. And I guess they're unlucky in the fact that a lot of those wins are against the run of play. A lot of those wins come from Sundowns being in a very strong position to them being in a weak position. But you can't take those things for granted. So I go back to the point where I say, I think they fixed the wrong thing, or their focus was on the wrong thing. It wasn't Sundowns needs to score more goals. Rulani's Sundowns was not conceding in a balance, was not conceding. Maybe low block was killing them at some point, but it wasn't Sundowns getting beaten 2-0 or 3-0. It was Sundowns maybe losing out Kari last minute. That team almost went invincible. So now you bring in Coach Mangoba, who's going in and giving a lot. Sundowns, box entries, shooting, all of that stuff. But their risk is that, okay, Gafana, Polokwane City said, we're going to go and do something there. Stellenbosch said, we don't care for that. So nobody's better. The problem is still the same. Last 30 minutes. Can you outscore a team in 30 minutes? Can you outpossession a team in the last 30 minutes? Why are you conceding in that time? That is the pattern that I'm focusing on. And whether we speak about the different matches and there was a ref and there was a this and there was a this, if I look on your record and it says you've played X amount of finals and you've lost all of them, then I'm like, oh, you've won one out of all of them. Then I'm like, guys, the record is the record. Pirates can say the same thing. They've won 5 trophies in 2.5 years. Not all of them were clean. Not all of them were incredible. But the record says they've won 5. The trophy room doesn't say, you came close. There's no trophies for second place. So you have to try and fix something. And I feel like they just focused on the wrong thing. And going the long route to Coach Mangoba to go change everything is fine. It'll look good. They'll have their entries or whatever. But if the main issue is still the main issue, what have you fixed? But anyway, guys, Makesi, 2-1 winners. Bafagu Kesi, they were able to win this cup. And Makesi also proves to everybody else, Sundowns aside, you don't need time. You don't need quality players. You don't need 1 million signings. You don't need modern football and playing out. You don't need all of those things to go win. Make sure that your plan has defensive rigidity. Whether you guys are speaking about Chipezeze being lucky, so whatever Clinton Larson said to Chipezeze was, hey, boy, there's going to be 20 shots, Mara, we know. No more we man of the match 4 times in a row. Who sharp? Then our other plan to go the other way is going to be Tilano, Abrams, Tiramadare, Makubu, Ambanyo Seveza boys. Nai memo. You're gonna go left, you're gonna cross it in, you're gonna score. You're gonna hit that blind run that Abrams hit was the same blind run that killed Usbisi, if I'm not mistaken. So all I'm saying is, to everybody who was saying to me that how can you face Sundowns and you're just going to go lose that game? You can't go. There's no plan you can make. Nabo showing you. But yeah, guys, it's been incredible. Please follow if you have not followed. I will be live tomorrow from 6. So we're going to watch both games, the Sundowns game and the Pirates game. I think Sundowns at 6, Pirates at 9. We're going to be live for that whole period, watching those 2 games. Join me, come in and analyze. Everybody gets to jump in. We get to speak. We get to do all of those things. And then it's a really great time watching the watch-alongs. If you want any of my thoughts and to see my content is on YouTube in full. I drop videos. I try to drop almost every day. So please support us content creators. Guys, there aren't many places that are like this. There aren't many places where it's not Thomas and a former player where you can jump in and we can speak to each other. So please support us, guys. Support us. Send the gifts. Do the likes. Contribute to the accounts. Do all of that stuff because it really does help keep us doing this, me doing this in a full-time state where I can do shows like this and I can give you 5 hours during watch-alongs. On the YouTube channel, it's not just watch-alongs. We also have reviews. We also have a whole bunch of other things. We are creating a really great place here. And if you want to be part of the WhatsApp group, go to YouTube, click on subscribe, click on join. That's where, me and Agent went back and forth for a whole Sunday. For a whole Sunday, we were going back and forth about something. We speak about a bunch of amazing things. There's some incredibly smart people there. It's not me. I'm not like the smartest person. We go back and forth. We teach each other. We learn. We banter. There's pictures. There's videos. There's voice notes. Hey, Yonki and Tilapa. It's an incredible place. So please, go on over to YouTube. Click on subscribe. Click on join. And you'll be able to, in the members area, there's a link to join the WhatsApp group. That is where it's at. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you then tomorrow. 6. Bye, everyone.